Hey all you cool cats and kittens out there. Just wanted to say what's up. This is Radical Ryan FPV. I just want to show you some cool things you guys can do with LEDs. It's gonna probably, make life a little bit easier. And this video you require like no external components other than just the Raspberry Pi LED that you already have probably, as well as, hold on, unexpected beeping. Alright, get rid of that guy. Alright, so where are we? So the Raspberry Pi Lite, as well as like a programmable LED board, pretty commonplace in the FPV world. That's what we got going on right here, and then the Raspberry Pi Lite on the bottom. So first just kind of show you the demonstration. So you can hook up the light to a switch, so you have it on, off on the aux switch, and then the LEDs on a 3-position switch, going from a strobe to a solid white, and then to an off on a 3-position switch. So we'll dive right into it. So the first part, there are 2 separate parts to the video. The first part is going to be, I will put a link in the description below to link how to hook up your Raspberry Pi Lite to put it on an aux switch. It is MetaRacer Pro. That's where I got all the information for this. He has his aux switch hooked up to VTX, which when you hit your one of your aux channels, he has it so it toggles through your VTX settings. But on mine, let me focus in for a sec. But on mine, we have it just set to a 2-position kind of a on-off switch. So and you can follow this verbatim. The only thing that I found different is when he talks about getting all your resources. I think it's one of the first steps. I found his CLI code to be incorrect, or it just didn't work for me. So the code that I used is resource space show, and that will then show you all of your resources, and then you can kind of go from there. And then just to show you guys my wonderful schematic, so he has his set up to the VTX, but mine's going to be the same. Your positive is going to your 5-volt on your board. It can be any 5-volt. And then your negative is going to be going to your buzzer. The reason I'm using the buzzer is that's just what I think maybe he used, or that's what I decided to use. I'm not using a buzzer on mine, so I'm just repurposing this this pad for that, and it works well. And then just a note to you guys, if you're not aware, you have a photoresistor on your Raspberry Pi Lite, and then you have a small dial here that will adjust your voltage. So with this mod, I would probably turn your light as bright as it will be, because now you can turn your light on and off, which will save your light's not going to be on all the time, so you can afford to turn this up to the max voltage. And I believe you can get, I think mine, I was able to turn it up to 1.6. And the way that you're going to want to do that is, after you have everything hooked up, take this cover, they just pop off, take the cover off, and you'll find a positive and negative lead directly on the LED. And go ahead and cover your photoresistor up, because you're going to get kind of incorrect readings. If there's any light in the room, your photoresistor is going to sense that and not send as much voltage to your LEDs. So to get like a true reading, you need to cover this up with tape or something so there's no light getting in there. And then what you're going to want to do is just put your multimeter on the positive and negative while you have your power on, and then you can use a screwdriver to dial this, and anywhere, I believe, from 4.6 or from 1.4 volts, I think it go all the way up to like a 1.6. But then once you have that set, I would recommend epoxying this optic on top of the LED down, because notice that those optics do fall off. Anyway, so this is how I have my LEDs wired up. So you need no external switches or any other boards, so it kind of saves on weight. So that's kind of the first part. Once you are able to do that first part, that's all with your using the beacon pads, and I just have mine on a 3-position switch here, so switch on and off. You can show you what mine ended up being like. Go to your modes tab, and you'll come down and you'll have a user 1 mode. So I just have mine pretty much like to an on-off switch. So there's on and off on my aux2 channel. Alright, so that's pretty much everything you're going to need to set up your IR light. And then what I would recommend doing for your LEDs, so just a little backstory on the LEDs. You have you're going to want to first go to your configurations tab. Hey guys, I think I lost you there, but we're back. So last thing I had you go to was your configurations tab. We are just going to enable our LED strip, and then we're just going to go hit save and reboot, and then we're going to go ahead and jump right into the CLI. Actually, since we are here, one thing that you're going to have to do for your IR light is enable this RX set, and that will allow your beeper to beep when you hit the button that you have it set for. And then I'm not 100% sure how, if this coincides with the IR light as well, but I just have these RX Lost and RX Lost Landing set. But I'd have to do a little bit more digging to make sure that is the correct config, but I have it set and it works, so I'm not going to change it right now. So we're going to go to the CLI tab. One great resource you can do if you are having trouble with anything is just do a type help, and it kind of gives you a breakdown of different features that you can type. But for now, we are going to use the set. So we're going to jump right into set space LED strip, and you'll see that they'll come up with auto like correct, I guess, just like your phone will. So the first one we're going to do is beacon color, and we're going to hit that to white. And in case I didn't explain it, we're going to have our 3-position switch set to toggle between the 3 modes actually. So it's going to toggle between race, which we're going to have set to white. That's going to be your on all the time, and then the second one we're going to toggle into beacon, and that will be our strobing, and then we're going to toggle into status, and we're just going to hit that status is going to be disabled off, so the light will turn off. So we're going to have to set all 3 of those LED strips, or all of those different profiles. So we have our beacon color set. The next thing we're going to have to do is set both our percent and our milliseconds, so how long that beacon is on for before it flashes. So the next one is going to do set LED strip. It's going to be percent, so you can hit tab, equals, and I found 50% works best for this instance. What it's going to end up doing is, although percent sounds like it's only half power, when I have it at 100%, it takes, what it seems like it's doing is taking too long to power up, and then it takes too long to power down, so you don't get that strobing effect. And even though it's set to 50%, it still is plenty bright, but I'll leave you guys that can play around with that. And then the next one we're going to do is set LED strip beacon period, milliseconds, and we're going to equal that to 75 milliseconds. That works well with the 50%. And then we're going to set LED strip beacon armed only, and we're going to set that to off. So that way, by setting that to off, it allows us to, if that was set to on, you could only, your beacon, your strobing beacon would only work if your quad was armed. So by disabling that, we're allowing us to turn the strobe on even when the quad is disarmed. So if you crash and you want to use your beacon to help find it, you can use it that way to just follow the light. So we set the beacon color. So another thing that we're going to want to do is set your race color. Set LED strip underscore race LED race color equals, and we're going to do white. So that should be it. You set all those settings. We have the profile, both the beacon profile and the race profile set. And then the last thing you want to do is hit save. Alright, one thing that we did not do in the CLI, we're going to set LED strip underscore profile space equals sign to beacon. Alright, so that should be it. So we can go ahead and save that. And then we're going to go into our adjustments tab. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to, instead of going into BetaFlight CLI and changing our profile from race to beacon to status, we're going to assign that to a switch. So I have mine just set to aux 1. So go ahead and enable it. Pick your channel or your switch. And then go ahead and highlight the whole range. Apply to your LED profile. And then channel, I just have the same one set to there. So go ahead and save that. And you're going to want to go to your modes tab, and you're going to want to look for your LED low, and what this does is when this is enabled, it will turn off your LEDs. So that's what your LEDs are on by default, so if you don't add this mode in, your LEDs will just be on all the time. So go ahead and add a range, put it to that same switch that your adjustments switch was on, and you might have to kind of play with your quad and the lights. And so you should have 2 switches that is like a beacon switch and your race profile switch. So your race profile is on, your beacon switch should be strobing, and then your third switch, I just have it set to off. So you can see it's within this range when I have it set to off. So go ahead and do that. Hit save. And I don't believe you need anything really in this actual LED strip section. But if you do, all that you should have to do is do a wiring ordering mode and then just highlight the amount of lights that you have. It doesn't matter the order, all that it's doing is just telling it how many lights. And then once you do that, you can exit out and hit save. I have mine set to, when you highlight all of your LEDs like I do, actually I do have mine all set to color, and I think I just have it set to white, but it's not going to really matter because I believe that when you're in the status profile, you're switching your LEDs to off. So I believe this should work without doing this step, but if you're having problems, you can just do this just to make sure. And then just go ahead and hit save. And that should be it. I kind of stumbled upon this somewhat by mistake. This is what I was actually looking to do. I didn't find any, nobody explained it very well, and I just kind of was messing around with things and found this that worked. So hopefully this helps. I'll give you a shot of the wiring on my flight controller. So this is my ground to, this is my ground to my IR light, and this is my buzzer, and this is my positive buzzer, which I have nothing hooked up to. And then I have my signal wire to my LEDs. I have both my LED board and my IR light hooked up to my 5-volt, and then I have my LED strip hooked up to my ground pad. And there's no other boards you need or anything. All you're going to need to make this mod work is the lights themselves. So hopefully this works out. I'm sure I forgot something. Oh, one thing you're going to want to kind of just be aware of is typically your boards are going to have how many amps you can pull from your 5-volt regulators. So I believe the Raspberry Pi Lite is, I think I measured it out to be like 250 milliwatts. I'd have to check. It's either 25 or 250. But either way, that in combination with this is a BetaFPV board from their 75X planes. It's just got 4 LEDs, and these are like programmable boards via the BetaFlight. So if you are just going to use a off-on like we did with this Pi Lite, you will need a secondary kind of like one of the tiny LEDs, like a pit switch or something.